but can that change? Mark Halperin is a political analyst. Gerard Filitti is senior counsel at the Lawfare Project and political strategist. Also with us in studio is Brandon Straka, the founder of the Walkaway campaign. So Donald Trump right now in the polls, we're seeing extremely popular. Ron DeSantis releasing a video on Twitter last week, which attacked the former president on LGBTQ issues. Many are saying that this is a desperate attempt to win votes. Brennan, I want to give you the first word to comment on this. What are your thoughts?
I think it was a really rough move from the DeSantis campaign because, a lot of people were seeing these guys, I think, as both viable options. And it was such a weird thing to do because I think one of the things that people really appreciated about Trump is the way that he sort of opened up the big tent of the Republican Party. And despite all of the negative reporting on him coming from the left-wing media, I think Trump actually appealed to a lot of minorities. If you look at the exiting polls in 2020, he grew with the black community, the Hispanic community, the LGBT community actually doubled their vote for Trump from 2016. And then you've got this attack ad from DeSantis that's kind of coming, it's very old school kind of messaging that I think doesn't really apply to what the Republican Party is about today. And so I think it had a really, really negative impact with a lot of people who might have considered voting for DeSantis.
We'll go to Mark Halperin now if you can. And you could weigh in on that if you'd like, that ad there, again, surprising many put out by the DeSantis camp. But also the crowd support that you've seen in South Carolina. Not only that, the polling numbers about 40 points ahead of DeSantis in this here. His popularity obviously maintains. But we also know that there are federal charges, which the former president, is pleading not guilty to. There is also a lot of reporting that potentially the special counsel Jack Smith may bring even more charges to the former president. It doesn't seem to deter his base. Mark Halperin.
Well, I'm tempted to say that the more indictments there are, the more likely it is Trump might get to 100% support in the primary. Because what we're seeing in the qualitative and quantitative research that's out there is that people who support Donald Trump or even considering supporting Donald Trump believe that the attacks that they see from the Democrats, the media, and these prosecutors add up to a need to defend Trump, to defend themselves. That ethos, that spirit, that emotion is stronger than anything Ron DeSantis has got out there. And I think part of what motivated his folks to do that kind of video, which most people I've talked to think was ill-advised, is they're looking for passion, emotion, and some sort of place in the news cycle. Until they find that, it's going to be very hard to dislodge Donald Trump from the lead he has.
All right. Also, we see a new poll that shows that more Democrats would rather see a third-party candidate run. Gerard, I want to go to you. Do you think that this is something that could happen?
Well, we've seen this happen before in the 1990s with Ross Perot. It didn't bode well for the George H.W. Bush presidency, but it sure helped Bill Clinton. I think a lot of Americans are just unsatisfied with what they're seeing right now. They're seeing extremes on both ends. They're seeing Joe Biden, who has pretty much done nothing, is unappealing as a candidate, and his age and health raise open questions on his ability to govern. And let's face it, no one wants Kamala Harris as president. And on the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who, despite the popular support among Republicans, there are a lot of independents who have moved away from him and are not coming back despite his growing popularity, even with the indictments. So a third-party candidate is viable, but there just isn't one on the immediate horizon. Gavin Newsom, others may challenge for the Democratic primary, but I don't think anyone will seriously consider a third-party run. I think the only way you see a third party in this election is if somehow Trump loses the Republican primary and is not the nominee, he will run third party. But other than that, we're stuck with a choice between two.
Brandon, my mind goes from Gerard's point there in terms of debates. The DNC says they will not have any debates, despite some of those candidates combining, again, challenging the incumbent, polling at 20% of, again, those respondents. But also the lingering rumor that maybe California Governor Gavin Newsom may step up at some time. Again, no debates for the DNC. The RNC's hosting their first debate. This will be in August, and perhaps Trump even saying he might skip that debate, saying he doesn't need to contend with those hovering around 1%. How big do debates play in terms of voters? and where their minds go with candidates?
I think it's really important, and I think the American people always feel cheated anytime they don't get to see their candidates going head to head and discussing the issues and debating. I think it would be a mistake for Trump not to attend debates. First of all, he tends to do a great job at them, and a lot of people actually felt in 2020 like he was coming out a little too aggressive, a little too hostile. I think it's a great opportunity for him to come back, show a little bit softer side of himself, stick with the issues, get past the 2020 election, show a different side of himself to those undecided voters. But I think personally it would be a big mistake if he didn't do it, and I think he should go head to head with this competition.
We appreciate the time, guys. Again, weighing in on this, Mark Halperin, Gerard Filitti, Brandon Strzok, thank you so much.
Happy holidays.